born male, female, boy or girl.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sammy, board-certified pediatrician, and old enough to think that people meeting like this is kind of strange and unnatural, but here we are. Anyway, maybe I can help a little bit. You said babies are born male or female. I guess I can understand what you mean by that if what you mean is that they're born with either a penis or vagina and possession of those determines whether they're a boy or a girl. Or did you mean that XX is girl and XY is boy? Did you mean that their sex chromosomes determine whether they're a boy or a girl? Here's the thing, it's not that simple.
Boy, do we have a good one today. So as you saw from the beginning clip, I'm going to be talking about what I will call woke pediatrician, a woke doctor, a doctor who is more concerned with political ideology than the actual science and biology, which goes to show that having a degree, having a license, doesn't really mean much in today's world. Let's get into this video.
Now, I'm not going to break down into a full science and genetic lesson for you because 3-minute video, but I'm going to give you some quick examples, okay? Did you know that some people could be born XXY or they can even be born X nothing? There are different genetic conditions, and that kind of complicates things in how their body expresses their sex organs.
So this doctor, pediatrician, is very popular on TikTok. She has over 700,000 followers, and I came across her video literally last night, and I was like, I gotta do a video about this. I gotta do a video about this because this is just insane to me and I have to respond. So in this particular video, she's doing a stitch, which is pretty much replying to another creator's video. And the original creator was making a statement that, you know, if a child is born, they most likely are gonna be born either male or female. There's a binary. And her argument, as you saw in the clip, is that there really isn't a binary because there are some children, some pregnancies that have what's called chromosomal abnormalities, which is pretty much a fancy word for birth defects within the chromosomes, including the sex chromosomes, XX and XY. And I'm listening to this pediatrician speak about this, and my mind is just kind of getting blown, spinning the more and more she talks. And I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying to see where she's coming from. Maybe she's gonna make an overall point. And she just continues to just go far, far, far left from, I guess, reality. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. So here are my issues with some of the points that she made. So one of her major points is that there really isn't a binary, and her argument is there are some children, like I said, who have chromosomal abnormalities where they don't have XX or XY. They instead have XXY or X and nothing else. They're intersexed and they have different birth defects that does not, I guess, put them in the normal binary of male or female because their sex is kind of unknown because of these abnormalities. Now, here's the thing. An abnormality only speaks to something that is not normal, which means it's not of the majority. It's not of what's considered expected, I guess is the best way to put it. So if you have an abnormality, that normally means that you have something that has gone wrong within the pregnancy, within your DNA makeup. And so my argument to her is just because we have abnormalities, that doesn't mean that the norm goes away. It doesn't mean that the normal binary of male or female goes away. Because we know, based on studies and based on actual statistics scientifically, that only 0.1% of the population actually has chromosomal abnormalities. 0.1%. Now, match that with the amount of people who are born with what's considered normal XX or XY chromosomes. The numbers don't even compare, don't even compete. So my question to her is, why are you making a statement against the binary based on a minority of defects? You're a scientist, right? You're a doctor, you're a pediatrician. Shouldn't you know this?
There's even this one condition called androgen insensitivity syndrome where they're born XY, right? They're born genetically male, but then their body doesn't have androgen receptors. And so basically their body is resistant to male hormones, and then they develop as though they're a female.
Again, she's talking about abnormalities. She's talking about defects. Let me give you an example. If I was born blind, would it then be okay for me to say that there is no such thing as being born with sight? Because I wasn't born with sight. So therefore, this idea that most people are born being able to see is a false statement, because there are some people, a very small part of the population, that is born blind, or born with one leg, or born with 4 fingers, what have you. Like, people are born with different defects, but it doesn't take away from the fact that the majority are not born that way. The majority are born with 10 toes and 10 fingers, all their limbs, and they can see. That is the norm. If something goes off from that norm, it doesn't mean that the norm goes away. It just means that that particular person, that particular baby, that particular pregnancy is abnormal. That's all that it means. And her push to say that because of these abnormalities, the binary doesn't really exist, in my opinion, is more of a push on her end trained to align herself with gender ideology and politics. And that to me is really troubling, because if you're a doctor, your analysis and your findings should be based on biology and science. That is it. It shouldn't have to align with a political ideology. And that is exactly what she's doing when she makes this statement.
We don't know shit. You know what we definitely don't know shit about? Another human's life experience. So you know what would be great? If we just focused on ourselves and left everybody else the fuck alone. Or maybe just support them, by just letting them be.
And I wonder who she's talking about when she says just support them and let them be. Is she talking about babies that are born with abnormalities, intersex children? Or is she talking about people who are born with XX or XY but choose to transition to a different gender because they don't associate mentally with the gender that they were assigned at birth or born as? Because that's different. See, intersex person doesn't have a choice. An intersex person genetically cannot decide what sex they were born as because genetically something went wrong. But a person that was born with XX or XY that is choosing to transition to a different gender, that is a choice that they are making for their life. That is not something that they were born with. Physically, biologically, they weren't. They were born a certain sex and they are rejecting that sex, but it doesn't change the fact that their chromosomes were correct. XX or XY. And when she says, just let them be, just mind your business, worry about you, she's not talking as a pediatrician or as a scientist or as a biologist. She's talking as a political mouthpiece for the left. That's what she's doing. And the danger with this type of, perspective or analysis from a doctor is that she's going to make a lot of decisions medically that is not based on the science, but based on the political ideology. And that is so dangerous, which is why I oftentimes reject or don't trust when I hear people say, well, medical professionals said this, this, and this, so there it is. Well, those medical professionals are not immune from bias, political bias, social bias. And if you are making decisions medically based on your political persuasion, that's a problem. Because as a patient, I'm going to be wondering, are you diagnosing me based on the actual facts and the actual science and the actual data? Or are you diagnosing me based on your social and political leanings? I would not trust this pediatrician with my children. Sorry, not doing it. Even her saying
science is so cool. And all this to say that at the end of the day, you know what? You said that you're not a scientist, and I've literally spent my entire life studying science and the human body and medicine. And you know what I've come to realize? I don't know.
Okay, that's great. As a doctor, you may not know everything. None of us know everything. But there are certain markers scientifically that we do look to that create what is an understanding of gender and sex and biology. And to say, just throw the whole thing away because some people are born intersex is, to me, mind-blowing to me. It's mind-blowing. And I also want to touch on the whole intersex conversation because oftentimes we hear this push when it comes from the gender ideology group, I guess you want to call them, who argue for men to be in female sports. A lot of times you're here with intersex people. And I think it's so wrong to do that because intersex people did not choose to be intersexed. Trans people, they chose to transition to another sex. That was a decision. An intersex person did not have a choice. They literally were born with an abnormality with their chromosomes. That is very different. And so to put trans people in the same category just to argue for males being in female spaces, I think is so wrong because it takes away from the actual struggles of an intersex person who did not have a choice, who did not have a choice. And it just becomes more about, again, politics than anything else. And I just have a problem with that. If you are a scientist, if you are a biologist, if you are a pediatrician, if you are a medical professional, please stay in your lane and give us your analysis based on the science, not based on your social or political convictions. Because honestly, I don't care. If I'm your patient, just care for me and give me the best care possible based on the science, not based on your emotions. I also find it funny too that oftentimes when I was growing up, it was sort of a known fact that liberals or people on the left were always all about the science, and they will claim that conservatives and Republicans rejected science, rejected biology. Cavemen and cavewomen, they were so behind their times. Look at the science, look at the science. And now it's flipped, right? Now you have people on the left rejecting science, rejecting biology, rejecting the data and the statistics because it doesn't fit their political agenda. And now all of a sudden, biology doesn't really matter. Science, who cares? It's how you feel that matters. No, I'm sorry. But science and data matters as well. And you cannot just throw that away and say that the binary of male or female doesn't exist. That is so dangerous. And to me, she fits the description of somebody, a pediatrician, that is for HRT for minors, that is for teaching children that boys and girls don't really exist. Like, she's one of those people. And that is so dangerous. And we're seeing more and more of these medical professionals with this type of ideology pushing their agenda and hiding behind their medical license. And it's really, really sad. Again, about 98% of the population is born with either XX or XY. 0.1% is not. I don't understand why we are changing science and what has been known for decades upon decades, based on a small minority of birth defects. If this is science today, we are all in trouble. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this topic. Do you think this doctor is correct? Do you think she is bonkers crazy? Because I kind of do. Let me know down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I'm so thankful for all of the support that I've been getting. I love you guys so incredibly much. I'm also available on Instagram and on TikTok under CurlyBoyChuck. And breaking news, I just created a Rumble account. So many of you guys have been writing me privately and telling me to make a Rumble account, so I finally did it. I only have about 2 videos up, and I don't have many followers yet, so if you guys do have Rumble, please go and give me a follow. I'm under CurlyBoyChuck as well. And yeah, let's continue to create. Let's continue to push the envelope. Let's continue to challenge the left, and craziness don't stop. Until next time, guys. Peace.